Okay, good evening, everyone. So I hope um you already register for our event tonight. So hello to Shadab. Okay, I'll be adding our instructor this evening, architect Hanson Saiko. He is a BIM and Revit manager. Good evening, Sir Hans.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Salamat sa pag-invite.
Okay, so Sir Hans, what's our uh objectives or what's the topic we'll be tackling tonight?
Well, it's not much, but it's an introduction for the Revit family. As I call it before, it's a family planning. It's a Revit family planning and how we are going to plan a Revit families. So it's not about yung paggawa ng pamilya, but it's more about the content of your Revit families and how to do and how to properly plan it. So more on we'll tackle more on the basic muna, and then as we go on hanggang meron tayong time, edi tignan natin kung hanggang saan tayo aabot. Yun yung uh, yun yung goal natin pa is to create a family and then add more and more of the options and explore more on how it will be um, presented on a project in Revit. Ganon, more on ganon ang gagawin natin today, tonight.
Okay, sige po, let's start.
Sige, before we start, meron na bang, actually hindi ko alam kung sino yung mga audience natin today eh. Ano ba yung mga, pwede bang mag-type kung meron kayong, ano, pwede bang pa-type kung anong status, kung estudyante or professional, o kung saan kayong lupalop ng daigdig if you're coming from other places in the world. Can you type and what's your profession, or if you're a student, just type it. What's your course, so I can have an idea on our audience tonight.
Okay, guys, so please type in the comment section. If you're a professional, a student, what course or what school are you with? Type it in the comment section.
So we have some electrical engineer, BIM specialist. Okay. Oh, we have mechanical engineer from Laguna. Hello, Sir John Mark. And we have people from India. Hello, Mr. Shadab. Shadab, the Revit modeler from India.
And hello to our partner organizations, UAPSA Malayan, UAPSA TUP. They are also live. We are also live in their Facebook page, and also PISE, the org of PISE, and the JPSME. We are also live in their Facebook pages.
Okay, galing. So we have architect from Bulacan and from CAD manager structure. Sige, type in nyo lang yung ano, and then I will start my presentation, my slide. Um, Napapakilala ko, my name is Hanson Saiko. I'm a Revit enthusiast now, and I'm a BIM manager for a company and doing some lecture as my part-time, also doing some talk. Nakalagay dyan before is I am a technical consultant sa Autodesk Consulting. And I will just go to the, may ako na lang i-share yung iba kong experience as we go on. But let us go to the plan. In every families, in every Revit family, um, of course, we have something to do with usage before we create something. Paano ba siya ginagamit? What is its use? What is it? Who will use it? Who should look it? Paano siya magiging, ano magiging itsura niya, and how it will be presented on your model or in your drawings. And what is the data important? What is needed on that? Kasi in in my previous practice also, kung mapapansin nyo, I mean, if you're a newbie, you are trying to get all of the Revit family. Usually, is either you can go to the Revit City or Beam Objects or some other manufacturer um, content. Ang mapapansin nyo doon when you're doing that is you usually see a lot of data, a lot of information that is included doon sa Revit families nyo. So when you download something, kahit maliit siya or malaki, minsan you have a bunch of information that is really not needed on that particular family na you have downloaded. So you will spend more time deleting those information, or at worst, hindi mo na siya tatanggalin, and it will become a part of those information which is added to your documents, so added to your project, which is not used. So minsan ang kailangan mo lang naman is this a box or is a representation of anything na important na hindi mo naman talaga kailangan. So what will you do is you have to do and plan for that. For creation, what is the controls of those brand. Mamaya i-discuss natin isa-isa. Later we will discuss all of those all of those data, all of those control one by one as we go on the software. So what is parameter, yung advanced feature of the families like calculation, nestings, and lookup. So we're always starting with the templates. So in Revit, when you're starting a family, you're creating a family, you're using template. Which template should I use? Which host, if there's any, if it is hosted by face or the plane, the floor, the ceiling, or the walls. So all of that we will discuss then later. So here in creating family, this is the eighth step that I am proposing sa lahat ng when creating our Revit families. So I think you already have, maybe if you have checked some of the tutorials, it will vary on some of it, but generally it will go like this: choose a family, find which reference it will go, where it will be placed, put the dimension and the parameters, then test, flex, geometry, which geometry is it, and then another test, and then for the types. So if there are multiple types in your family, and then maybe you can test it again and do some quality control. So all of this, these are the important and the basic step of doing and creating our families. And ano ba yung what is reference plane? The importance of reference plane. These are the plane which interact, or sometimes it is the base of your drawing, to give you a better control of your geometry. You will have more consistent result and name it for future editing. Sometimes you have to name your reference so you will have some consistency in your editing. For example, if this front, if this left or right or rear left or whichever you want to call it. So once you have done this one, it will be easier for you to remember those once you need it. And next is dimensions. When we talk about dimension, these are the distances, and sometimes you have to lock it to maintain your control. Sometimes you don't need to. Parameters for editable data. Instance for individual element changes, shows as default in type editor. And then type, reporting. We will discuss this later. And then solids. So for those geometry, I'm sure most of you know how to do um, extrusion, some blending, but we will discuss this further methods when we use the software. Revolve, rotate a shape, sweep shape on a path, sweep blend to shape on a path. Voids, so these are technically removing some volumes, same as extrusion, can be used to cut host. Extensive use will cause large model file. It means extensive use of this more geometry, especially those curves, um, will cause a much larger file types. So best practice, as I told a while ago, limit the curves, use use native geometry, only include useful geometry. For the controls, always use a meaningful name. Can other people understand what the parameter is for? So when we make and naming a a family, we can always refer to, it's easier to understand. Don't just put a, it's just a XX or AA or 11 for your family. It should be it should be meaningful. Like if you're using an architectural door, at least use a door or door one, or an architectural door. Or it is a chair, just put chair one or chair two. So when the user or other user can access that file or that particular families, it will be easier for them to understand what is it. And especially if you're using some of the parameters, for example, for length, just put length or L, or width, just put W. Don't put any numbers, one, two, three, or anything that is on your keyboard that is not doesn't have a meaning at all, that only you can understand. So try to be considerate with others if you're using, especially if you're if you have people on your team, on your company, that will be using your families as well. So it's better. So as I said, that there's some of those person that would be using on your team that need to be needs to understand and know how are you using your parameter, how are you using your, you will have as much as possible naming convention. As I said, you should have a conventions of all of your project as well as your families, so it's easier to for them to look at and use it. And don't use the symbol in parameter name like plus, minus, so all of those mathematical symbols. Don't use it on your parameter because it will be confusing if someone will be using a uh, uh, formula for the parameter. So use the correct parameter value type. So if it is a furniture, it should be in a furniture uh, parameter. It's furniture templates. So use the correct parameter value type. So every families need at least one type. So if you're creating multiple type, create a type in a type window. So there will be an option that if you have some multiple type, you can create it on the same families. It allows the family to have multiple and selectable sizes. Type name should allow identification of differences. So it will not be confusing. So if you're looking for a 1 by 1 table or a 2 by 2 table, so make it as much as possible, match those type names on those type parameters, so it will not be confusing. So in finishing up, new family should be saved in a work in progress library. So as a as a step further to have some quality control and quality check, this new family should be saved in work progress library. And quality control testing should be periodically performed. Check families that are moved into. Actually, this is one of our client who which we made it. So it's like for us, the one doing the content creation for the family, it is practical whenever we have some work in progress for this type of families. We should do also the quality check, quality control. If it is, it will pass the testing, it will pass all of those requirement. For example, if you want to limit all of your families into, for example, less than 1 MB or 500 MB, I mean 1 MB or 500 or zero point 0.5. So you will limit all of those file file sizes. For example, especially if you're doing multiple floors and you want to save the file space on your project. So it is much practical that you will limit the sizes of your families, Revit families. So it is important, and especially if you're using and implementing, if you're implementing a family naming convention. Also, if you're adding information that is important in the company, in your in your company that needed some of this information like manufacturer or some other information that's needed, na kailangan it will be added on the families, for example like testing, commissioning, or locations. So all of those things can be added on your family if that is included on the requirement of your quality control. So that's my slide, and now I will go to the. I'm using Autodesk Revit 2019. So I have some 19.2.4. So it's an update from Revit right now. So if you have some question, you can feel free to type along the way. So if there's some question that you need to clarify or to have to ask, feel free to type in your question and then I can answer it as we go on. You don't need to ano, to just butt in along the way. There's no problem for me. So if anyone, so if there's a question, then it's okay. So mag-start na ako on my sample. So as I said before, um, on the slide that I made, the seventh step will start here. So these are the seven steps. Choose the template first. So in creating the Revit family, I will choose the template, new, so creating new families, and I will go to my Revit template. But for now, if we're making a metric furniture for a start. But for this particular practice, I'll make a generic model for now. So this is the template for the metric generic. So it's like a generic model. So there's no information that is here. It's just a generic model. But later on, we'll change this one to a metric furniture. Why? Because there are some information like you can post rebar and some so this is generic because it's like that. Because if you want to change, for example, if you have the generic model and you want to change this on a particular category like furniture, you can just easily change it from here. So it's easier for that. So right now it's a family furniture. So let's start. My aim here is to make a box. Let's start with a box. And why I choose to start with a box. So a lot of a lot of Revit furniture and also a lot of uh, furniture in a lot of families here in the drawing in the project usually start with the box. Like for walls, for doors, tables, cabinets, cabinetries, counters, aircon. So lahat yan puro box. So it's easier for us if we will start with the simple box. So how to do that? I said so okay na tayo with the template. Now we have the reference plane. So these are what we call a reference plane. Itong X na green na to, which has a label now. It's a center, front, and back, and center, left, and right, which is defined as origin. So it means that this center is defining the origin of the template for. So it's like this is the insertion point of your family. So once you insert it on your Revit project, it will define the center, this center as a insertion point. So now, if we're planning to make a box, so how will we start? So I will just make another reference plane to define this one and this one for the left and the right. This is for the front and the back. So I will make a square here and later we'll extrude it. But right now I'm just defining the edges of the box. Ito yan. And then now I'm on the reference level. Now I'm going to define naman the height of this box by going on the front elevation. Now this is the reference level wherein this one will be our base, the reference of our Revit family, and I will create another reference plane here to define the top of the box for now. So this will define the top of the box, and this will be the bottom of the box. So what's the next? So we have established the planes. So this I haven't made any of the geometry yet. These are only the references. So there's no model yet here. It's just blank. So I just made some reference plane. So what's next? Now let's do the dimensions and parameters. So we'll make it. We will try to make an intelligent box. So by making a dimension here under the annotate, let's make the align. So I will just pick this reference plane one in the middle continuously. And then click equal. So this one will be same. I'll create another dimension here and click this so it will be equal. So why I ginawa ko yun because I would like to make sure that whenever something happen here, it will be equal once I make some of this dimension. And I will have some dimension here. So now I'm going to define the length and the width for this by using the parameter. Now I'm adding parameter here. So make sure this one, kung mapapansin nyo, if you will notice that I'm always referencing my dimension on those planes. So will always be referenced on those the dimension is referenced on those planes. So whenever I added the geometry on this and lock the geometry on these edges, it will just follow. So we will test it later. Now I'm going to select. So I'm going to select this dimension, and so if you can see, I will add a parameter here. So this is a parameter property under a family parameter. Now I'm going to set a name for this like length. So I prefer capital letter length. And I will just make it a type. And under the group dimension parameter, and I will okay. So it will just add the length is equal to the dimension. So this one has a parameter. Once I added those, if you can click this family type property here, you will see on this box it has the dimension, the length. That's why I made this dimensions, length, dimension. If I change this to graphics and apply, you will see this one will become graphics. So since it's easier to understand that this length is a dimension, kaya ako siya ginawa ganun. So I will just go back to that dimension. Now the same thing here. I will add another information here, and I will make this length. So it will be a width, also dimension. So width, length. Now the idea here is that's why we put some of this the parameter that is with reference to this reference plane. Whenever I change this, it should follow. For example, so let us now flex. See, I get the dimension and the parameters. So now I will try to test my length and the width if it will follow if I'm going to change the information here. So it's either we can just drag here, or maybe I will change this. So if I change, like, for example, if I'm going to have a length of 2 meters, this is in mm. Okay, so it stays on the middle. And how about the width? If I make it 500, so it's following. So it means that it's okay. So wala tayong, so there's no issue, there's no problem here. So it means that so far we are successful. It is important for us always to check if our parameter are working, because if we can add, we can extrude, we can put all the geometries here and refer it to those planes. But if you want the parameter, if you want your object to be intelligent, so you should check it every now and then, especially on the on the early part. Dahil later on, when you go to more the more in depth of those of the parameter, and maybe you will miss something, you haven't locked something, you haven't refer the dimension on the most important planes, so you will get lost. So it is much easier. So now we're just working on the length of the and width. Now let us check for the height. Remember, we haven't got the geometry yet, so it's still blank. We're just establishing all of those information first, and then we'll put the geometry after this. So I will just go back to the front. Now I have this top. Now I will have the dimension again, and I will add another information here, label now, and I will add the parameter height. Height. Now I'm deciding if this HEIGHT or GTH. Okay, height. So this is height. Now I'm going to test if the height will work again. So to check, click here. Now I have the height. Let's see if I'm going to make this 800. So, okay, so it's okay. Now I'm done with the checking of the uh, flexing of those information. Now let us go to create a box. Now to create a box, now before we do the creation of box, let me save it first. Sometimes when we get excited, we tend to forget to save. Okay, let me just go to my here. Say so I have saved it now. Okay, so let us create the geometry. So I have tested. Now let's create the step number 5, geometry. Now let us start creating an extruded object. So this extrusion, when you create a 2D shape, you can use a basis of the 3D shape extruded as a part of the point. and at the end. So uh, let me just click this extrude. Okay, I think I had muted it. Okay, so there's a height of 250 by default. So if I'm going to make a create a line, I can create also a rectangle here and some other stuff here. So just create a box. I will just use this rectangle by picking the first edge. As you can see, okay, ano wala yung audio ko kanina. Parang, kaya nag-unmute na ako. I think it's a default. Oh, once I get a slow connection, nag-mute siya. But anyway, so okay na hopefully. So, create, extrude. Now I'm going to put the line. Now, remember, we have the reference here. So, like I said, I will try to put a first uh, corner of this rectangle here on the intersection. It should be on the intersection of this. It will light up blue once you once you reach the intersection. It has the X. So I will just click it here, and I will go on the other side. And when it reach the intersection, then I will just click it there. And I'm and then after that, you will see those locks. So currently it is unlocked. I will just click this, so it will be constrained. This line will be constrained on this side, and this one on this left side, this one on this bottom, and this one is on the right side. So whenever there's a movement, let me just finish this first. Okay, so if let me explain to you that I made a box. Now this is a box. Let me show you that this is a box. Okay, this is the one. Let me just put it on the, okay, this is the box. Now, the reason why we have reference it on this reference plane is when this reference plane move, it will just follow. It is locked. So let us try. Let us test again. So if I'm going to make this one, two, so you see, let's try the width. So 1,000. So it's following those length, the width, and how about the height? Now for the height, As you can see, it's 800, and it's not following that because when we started with the extrusion, it has the information already that 250. Now, what we're going to do is to click here, and then you will see those grips, the left, right, and the bottom grip. So I can just drag it here from here, and once it reaches this reference, you will see there's a snap that is already it's indicating the blue snaps. So once I release this, it will have this indication that are you it's like, do you want to lock this? So of course I'm going to lock this. Now let us test the height. So the height, okay. Let me just save this first. So now you have this box. Yeah, I just press the SD for the shaded mode here. You can have a bar frame, it's a hidden line, shaded mode. So I will just put the shaded mode here. So let us test here in 3D. So if I have the height for 800, I have the length for 2000, and I have the width for, so so we have a successful parametric box. How about we decided to make this box now a table? So we'll add another information. Actually, parang it's a conflict on, I said before that you should plan. Now I'm saying that we should decide already. I mean, for this exercise, if you want to make a table, just make a table. Don't make a box. So I'm just making here a step-by-step information on how you will do it from the start, so you can expand by creating a simple object first, and then you go further as you go on. So now let us practice further. So if you're making a plan on how to make a table, make a drawing of the table and how on how you're going to represent it, and then do it starting from the basic. So that's what I'm trying to tell. So if I'm going to make a table out of this box, now I'm going to have some other information that's needed to have a table. For example, the table needs a foot. So for example, I'm going to have a 4 foot data here. So what I'm going to do is to add another layers of uh, planes, another set of planes to represent the location of those foot, the table foot. So for example, let us create another reference plane here on the side. So this will be the offset of those legs of the table. So from here, let's say maybe 1 2 inches offset, and then I can add dimension. Again, if we're adding a reference plane and the dimension, I will always refer it to the outer part, not here. So this one will be the the main reference, and this will be the second reference. So from the outer to the inner. So from the outer in, out, in. Now I'm going to have this parameter as a leg offset. Now this leg offset, maybe I'll just make it 52 inches. And all of this, I will just select those dimension and select this label as 50. So it will become, all of this will become equivalent to 50. So whenever I change something here, if I change my mind to 75, it will all become 75. So see the flex. Okay. So now, after this, I'm going to add another reference for the length and the width of those legs. Okay. So I'm just reading. Hi, Sir Aris Basa, Idol. Yes. Thank you, sir, for watching. So let us start by adding another reference. So from create, I'll just click this another reference plane here. On this side, another one from this side, another one on this side, and this. As you can notice, this will be the length and the width of those legs. So for the parameter here, let us create another dimension now. So which will be the reference now. I mean, the starting reference of our legs should be these two side. So I will just click this one reference and another one here. and then this one and this one here. So why? So whenever this move, this one will follow and the leg will follow. So there should be a sequence on doing your referencing. So you know that whenever something has moved and the other should follow and the third one should follow. So there's a sequence on doing that. So for the legs, I will say, let me add some of your dimensions here. This one is controlling this, and this one controlling those two and those two. So we should have the dimension here. This one will be the first reference, and then the other one. This is the first reference. Okay. Now I'm going to make a parameter now here and name this will be the leg. I'll just make it the leg. So it means that the leg I will select all the leg dimension and assign the property, the label here as leg. So when I decided to make this leg 75, 50, we'll see those information is moving. So from this main I mean from this secondary reference to the third, you will see the sequence. So let's make it 75. Hey, Sir Darwin then. Sir Darwin, good evening. Okay, so we have the legs and we have tested, so it's okay. So let us start doing the leg part. So let us create another extrusion. So like what we did on the box. So I'll just create another 4 box here and making sure that it will be again on the X intersections there. Although we can create some 4 box, so okay. And the depth is 250. We'll just leave it as is. Let's create. I forgot to lock this one. So intersection, now lock, lock, lock. So 1, 2, 3. Now this is the third one. So it's already locked. Now iniisip ko kanina, I was thinking maybe I can make the extrusion and copy all of this. I mean, make a box continuously here from here and lock all of it as long as it is locked. And we will see. So let us lock here. Now once you lose those locks, you can always, ito yung ginagawa ko eh. Once what I'm only sure is that this one is already locked. So if I'm not sure about locking all of this, I'll just drag it and then reference it there, and then there's a lock overlapping there, there, and there. So again, lock, just drag, just drag it a bit and put it back there. Sometimes na-confuse you. Sometimes it's confusing about those locks, but we will see. Lock, drag it here, and then lock. So we just make four little boxes, small boxes on those reference, and click it. Okay. Now because since these legs are square, so I don't have a problem. Because if it is not a square, if it's rectangle, then I will have a problem once we move it, because this x and this y will not be equal in a certain point. Again, there's a lot of way pa rin to make this this box. You can use it. I mean, we can make it individually and then copy. So for this test, we'll just make this one. Now, let us test if this box will follow if I'm going to change the the length and the width. So let us try this. Let us test if the legs now will follow if I'm going to change the length and the width. So let us try. So if I make this one, if I make the width 600, so it's okay. So munod. If I make this width, so it's okay. So it's a success. So one thing we forgot is the front. So again, kanina, when we establish the extrusion, it has the default of 250 because the template that we have used is there's a default value of 250 whenever we extrude. Um, so now let us just establish the height of the So this will be a table height, for example. Now I'm going to add another information like a height of the leg. So we can establish the leg. So for this, what I'm going to do now is, since the leg, if we're going to analyze it on the construction of the table, the leg is leaning at the bottom of the tabletop. So what I'm going to do is to create another reference plane for the bottom of the tabletop. So I will not say that this will be the bottom of the tabletop, but I will say that this will be the thickness of the table. So this particular portion. So I'm going to create a dimension and reference my dimension from the top of from the top of the table to this bottom, and then I will say that this will be the thickness of the table. So it's the thickness, I will say table thickness, THK. So it will be also on the dimension. So it will be the table thickness. So whenever I change the height of the table, the thickness will follow, and these legs should follow them as well. So I will just drag it until it reaches those reference plane and lock. So right now I have the two overlapping boxes here. Now I'm going to change this one now, and this box will become the table thickness. So I'm going to select this box and drag it here till it reaches those bottom of the table and also lock. So if I'm going to show you the 3D, so it will be like that. So let us test. Now let us test the table thickness. So if we are going to make, let us see, let us try to make a 2 meter height of the table. So it's following. Now if we're going to make the table thickness 50, so it's okay. We're going to make the leg 100. Okay. Okay. So we can make, actually from here we can make the dining table, the office table, the coffee table. So the console. So we can have multiple of family types that we can use from this particular table, bedside table. So you will have a lot of tables you can use here. even a stool, even a bar stool, a square bar stool. So from here, you can have all of those from here. So how can we make it like that? For example, how can we make a multiple type? Let us just say save this one first. And let me open some sample here. For example, this sample project. Let me just make. So for example, I'm going to add our table here. Okay. So if I'm going to load this on our project, we can just click the load into project. So whatever project it is open will automatically insert where I'm going to put this. So for example here, it's not showing here. It's there. There's a different. Okay, so it's here. So the representation of this particular table that we made is just a this white. Now the file name is Beam Family Test. So I will just go back to the family now, and I will just save it file, save as family. We can just save. Yung sabi ko nga kanina, as I said earlier, for the user, it would be easier for the some other user. It should be easier to understand and to identify that we're making a table. So otherwise, save it as a table. And also, before saving, always click the option because the same option always putting this three maximum um, three file. There's a backup file for this. That's why it's 1, 2, 3. It's always saving multiple number of backup files. So for me, I don't need to put this backup. I just save it as one, maximum one before saving. So now I have a table. So it will be a table. Now, what I'm going to do is to have a multiple option, a multiple type on those table. For example, I will make a coffee table for this. Say coffee table. And this coffee table will be excuse me, maybe 400. Um, your height, the length will be 1000, the width will be 400. The length will be 50. That will be So now I have the coffee table here. Let, let's let's make it the table thickness of the 20. So this one is a coffee table. So if I'm going to load this into the project, so we will have a coffee table here. So this is the information. Now you have the coffee table one. Now let's have another one. Oops. Now I'm going to add another one. Let's create a new type. Let's say dining table. So height of the dining table would be 100. See the width 900. The length, say 2 meters. So we'll make a thickness 50. So we'll have the dining table.
Sir Hans, nag-mute po.
Ayan. Okay. Is okay?
Yes po, okay na po.
Okay. So as you can see here in the project, now I'm on inside the project. We can also change this parameter since we have added this. You can click the edit type here, and we can always change the information in here. And of course, as a good practice, whenever you change something here, you can always, you should always duplicate para hindi kayo malito. So it will not create any confusion. So if you're making another coffee table number two, and you are changing something in here, for example, I'm going to change this into 100. So at least you will have an option that this coffee table 2 is different from this coffee table 1. And again, this one. So you're creating multiple tables from where you have started. So let us go back here. So now you have two here. Now let us do something else. Let us try to do some. Uh, let us put some, maybe some element here. Now there's there's a way to put some of the your creativity in doing something here. But first, let me just show you how it will be represented on in your project. So whenever you have something in plan or in elevation, it also varies dependent on the information you want to show on your plan or your elevation or in your section. So it will um, here in the here in the top view in the reference level, it will right now it's representing the this box. So whenever you put it on your top view or on your plan, it will be shown like this box. But if you want to show also the legs, there's a presentation you can use. It is called the symbolic line. So how are you going to show this? For example, if I want to show a the leg part here on the plan, we can click this preview visibility on, and as you can see, whatever is showing here, this will show on plan. Preview visibility this one. So if I'm going to, let me just turn it off first. So if I want to show the symbolic line, so it's just a two-dimensional representation. It's just a 2D line. It's just a line of the furniture that I want to show on the foreground, and it will be on the furniture subcategory. If I'm going to click the symbolic line, now it's just that I'm going to make a representation. Same thing here as a rectangle. Just lock it also. Same thing here, here, here. So even the two-dimensional line will also follow. Save ko lang. Now, let us see if I'm going to load this. Now it's just those are those lines. It will not show on the three-dimensional. It will not show those lines. But once I save it there, load into project, it's override. So you will see these are those. These are only 2D, and it will show And so what's the point of this? Maybe you want to see what's inside, or maybe you just want to put something. Maybe you just want to put something like a placemat or some information here. You just put some base in, or a magazine on your architecture plans. You can just add another two-dimensional lines here representing those that you don't need to model those in 3D. Maybe it's just a presentation. So now let us go for, let's add some cornice here. So there's some creation tool here that maybe you can use, like this sweep. So for example, this sweep is driven by a path and the profile. So I will just set the plane, I mean the plane here on top. So I'll just pick a plane, okay, and I'll make this cornice. We'll have some moldings here on the side. So I'll make this. I will set this one here on top, and now I'm going to place all of those path here, here, and here. So those are the edges that I need. So whenever I make any changes on my table, all of those information will follow. And edit a profile. So I'll just either I will make a profile. Let me just go on the left side or the right side. I'll just make some square here. Maybe just this one. Okay. So this one will go all around. Yeah. So yeah. So it added another part of here, which is dependent on the tabletop. So whenever I change also let us check. If I change the width to 200, the length to 3,000. Yeah, what's that? See, there's furniture line. So there's some furniture lines. Something has may lines dito na I'm not sure saan galing. Na tumalon. element. So it's okay. So I have added this one. So how it will be presented on 3 dimension is like that. So you will have those and those other 2 lines. Now, let us load it on our file, on our model. Load in the project, override existing. So we have added the another lines here. So paano kung what if you don't want to show these lines and this line? I just want a rectangle clean lines. So what will I do? So to do that, I will go to our families and there's only one way to think of. It's not maybe I can delete this if I don't want this line because these are only 2 dimensional lines. And what will happen if I want those part to be included on my presentation? I mean, I can always create, I mean, I can do the annotate and do a symbolic line only with this. It's a furniture. So right now I'm going to reference my line here and refer it here. Now I'm going to lock, lock. Now I'm not locking my reference line on the reference plane, but I'm locking my reference line now uh, on the extrude. I mean the sweep object, which I hoping na it's okay. So what I'm going to do now is to go in 3D and select all of those 3 dimensional object. Now there's a visibility graphics override here. Now I'm going to say that yes, you can show this on the front. I mean, you can show this on the front and on the back, left and right, but do not show this on the plan. Okay, I will not. This will not be shown on the plan. Okay, and I will say that this line will be shown first, medium, fine. Maybe in the fine, but I'll leave it as is. This one will only be shown on the plan. So to check, let me click the visibility. As you can see, this is the only thing showing here. Those lines, those furniture lines. Okay pa ba tayo? Ah,
Yes, if you have questions, no, post nyo lang yan sa ating comment section.
oh, tanong lang. Sige. So what can we see here is now it's just those lines. Now let us try loading it on our project. So let's click save, load it on our project. Now override the existing, and there you go. So it's just a line. So no, the problem here is just a line. So it's not like this, like solid object. So the you can see through the wall. It's like just a line now. Pero in representation, if I'm going to click it here, it's three-dimensional. You see, it's 3D. But on plan, you'll see on plan, it's like this. But let us go on how we can address this problem. Let me just edit families. And for this, we can always create do an annotation, and let us say how about this masking region. It's like, okay, or just mask those. Tingnan dito yung lock. Let us lock. I just put a lock on all of those masking region. Now, how it will be represented now, it's just like it will have a solid hatch. It's like a solid white hatch on your foreground. So I'm going to load it again. It'll be like this. So it's two-dimensional representation of those tables, but it will look like a 3D. So this is a trick. So if I'm going to look at here, so here. So that's how I'm going to represent this 2D. Uh, it will be represented on 2D plans to be like that. Now let us go to put some materials in here. So for example, what I'm going to do is to, let's go back to our coffee table first. Okay. So our coffee table will be, now to add the the materials here is to click this. And for example, I will just add a new, maybe we can make this one glass. And make this This one wood. Let's see. Coffee table wood. Coffee. Yeah, we'll just add here. Wood. We can add the image. If you have the texture of the wood, you can add it here. If you don't have, I will just make some color brown here. And let's put some steel here. Steel. Maybe we can go to those assets here. Say some steel. Say polish. Polish. So when we load this on the project, so what if now, what if we want to change we want the ability to do the, to change this, to change those material on the project. So we'll have a flexibility na although we can always go back onto edit family, but we have an option here on the project to change those types. Kasi right now, what I did is once I changed this coffee table, also yung dining table, nagpalit din siya ng temp, nagpalit din siya ng materials. So what can we do about this one? So I will just go back to our our family to create an identity for this, what type of this. So right now it's just a plain box that doesn't have any name or information on this. So for example, let's say this one, sabihin ko sa kanya na you are a you are a leg. So I can just go here in visibility, click here, and I will say table like Let's see on the materials. And now this one, tabletop, tabletop, table side. Okay, so so once we do that, once we have done with this, let's say, let's go back. What I'm trying to do is to put the materials of this here. Leg. Yeah, you should have the material, but nalito ako. So if there's any question pa, meron pa tayong ilang minutes. Should be on the material parameter. Next, legs. This will be side table. And this will be the tabletop. See? So save. Load into project, override. Now, let's see if we can change this. So material, okay, we want to change the material now. It's here. Then if you want to change the legs, something else, wood, side table, wood. So you will have this freedom to change the material. So yun, that's how you're going to change those na hindi naapektuhan to. So if I'm going to change this, the coffee table, then the coffee table too. See, siya dining table, and then this dining table can be also changed to other material. So yun, yun yung that is how we're going to do that. So if you have some uh, continue na, we have 4 minutes. Gawin ko pa sana ng nalagyan ko pa sana ng chair pero think ko some other time pag meron pa tayong time ulit we will have some other uh, other elements to put in here on how we're going to divide those chairs to put some array and division and all of those information. Pero last part is for those formula on how just a sample of the formula. For example, medyo tinatamad ka na mag-type dito. For example, yung height, I mean for the width and the length. For example, ang difference nila siguro is laging one-third ng length yung ano. Kunyari, kung lagi, halimbawa, one-third lang lagi yung ng length yung width mo. So, I can just say that my width is O. I can make a I can make a formula here na I can copy equals to length over 3. So, ito yung magta-type ako. Yung ita-type ko lang lagi medyo ito na lang siya. So, lagi na lang siyang automatic mo ginagawan siya ng ano ng calculation is a some example for the height. Meron yung mga formula na pwede mo rin siyang laging equal to is equal to one half ng any of the information here. So those are these formula na pwedeng magamit. Halimbawa, hindi ka masaya yung formula, mga mathematical expression. May mga if this is 400 not equal to something like that. So magagamit mo yung or over 2. So yun lang siguro for now.
Okay, so ano na po, no? Open na tayo for questions. So, eto, Sir Hans,
Yeah.
from Jan.
Sige.
Yan.
How can I save this furniture family and try ako mag-annotate, recognize siya as generic mass. So once you load this, if it is a furniture family, save ko lang siya. Ako na ng kaninang shape. Yeah. So it will be recognized as a, kung makikita mo dito, it is a family furniture. So this family furniture, once I load it on the project, it should be recognized as a furniture tag. So if you click this, I mean, if you open the annotate and you add a tag here, yeah, there is no tag loaded for furniture. Do you want to load one? Yes. So if I'm going to add another furniture tag, you can see I can find this furniture tag. Click library, this annotation, and should be the furniture tag. Furniture tag here. So open. So it should be like that. So I haven't put any tag, so I can say F. Then what? There. So it should be once, just to check if you're on the right on the right families. Once you select those, once you select the family, you will see it is the furniture. So if it is a furniture, then the correct annotation is the furniture tags. So it depends on, maybe you have the comment tags or whatever tags you have is the question. But the on this particular for family, once you select this and it says it's furniture, so you can use the furniture tag. So like this is a structural column. So as I select this category, it will say there's no tag loaded, structural column tags. So yun, mas madali mo siyang makikita kung ano. Select those furniture, or select the families, whichever it's it. And you will see what type of property is it. So if it is a, what if it is a, if it is a generic tag, so you can load a generic model tag if there's one. Family creation sa proper generic pa din siya. O, kasi once you create those, yung kanina nag-start ako ng generic model, but to change that, you can go to the this family category and parameter. And if you miss that, you can always select this furniture and click OK, so that your generic model will become a family furniture or on whichever it is intended to. So, ganun po.
Ayan, no. Thank you, sir. Maybe na-miss ko yung part sa start pa lang ng family creation.
Uh,
Sa properties, generic model pa din siya.
uh, so, that's the, yun lang yung solution doon.
Ayan. Okay, got it, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, kung may questions po kayo, type nyo lang yan sa comment section.
Okay, even yung, even yung mga annotation, it is also a family. It is also a family type. Now, it is so flexible that you can use it also. Those circles, those call outs, those are also family that we can use to put the information. on those on our project. You know, how can we change the family from metric to imperial? Okay, actually, to change the family from metric to imperial, not, I mean, you can always use the UN. I mean, the project units. So of course, this one is I created it based on the metric template. That's why it's showing all of those dimension. But once you make it like this length, change all of this into to English, then it will become an English family. So that's one thing. So just type UN for the units. Because all of this dimension has the equivalent um, has the equivalent information as the English units, those fits and those inches and the foots. And the only thing is it is better because maybe there's some information here that is added when you use on the first time because there's always the create I mean the file new family that there's from creation there is always a template for metric and the template for imperial. So it's better use the kung whatever it is intended. If you're using the imperial, just use the imperial template because it's not because once you open those and you will see that all of those information is already right feet and inches. Because the only thing that's driving here is the project units. Always change this to get the to get those templates in a proper uh, in a proper template. Always use those templates. Hmm. Meron pa, meron pang question.
Okay guys, kung may question, type nyo lang yan sa comment section, no? And don't forget to connect with Sir Hans in LinkedIn. Okay, I'll be posting his LinkedIn profile link. Okay, connect with Sir Hans in LinkedIn. It's Hanson Psycho. So the link is in the comment section.
Mhm.
So, click nyo lang yan. And if you have future questions then, you can message Sir
Yeah.
Hans.
Mm, okay. Happy to help. Happy to share.
Okay, once more, thank you, Sir Hans, for giving time for this session. And we hope to have a repeat in maybe third quarter.
Oo. Gusto ko,
As per your schedule po.
maganda nga kung gawin kong series to eh. Kasi um, there's another portion of this. Like, is this a basic? This one will be uh, the base set of the family. Then you will add some more of those template, more of those annotations, more of those na ginagamit sa project. Ano ba yung annotation ko? How can I put another annotation here, and then how can I add some more information na kailangan ko sa project, then how can I extract or how can I schedule that. So meron siyang mga kasunod na ano eh. May mga kasunod siya na tanong to get into to get deeper with the families. So this is just the introduction actually. So yun.
Okay. No, so abangan nyo po, stay tuned in our Facebook pages for the next session, and don't worry, the uh, it's a recorded version, so you can watch it in our Facebook uh, page, Autodesk.com, and BIM Pinoy Facebook page. Okay, so abangan nyo po doon kung may na-left out kayo, pwede nyong i-review yung video natin doon sa Facebook pages na yon. Okay?
You can comment also if I have something na nalimutan, or you have some suggestion din, 'di ba? You have some suggestion na pwede nating na i-share nyo rin. Baka mamaya yung alam ko lang na ituro ko, and then we can share it din sa group kung meron kayong magandang suggestion na pwede nating mailagay dyan to improve ourselves, and for the benefit of somebody else na kailangan din niya, or na confused din siya, or maaaring hindi ko rin na natakil. So ganun na.
Okay, so for future questions, no, you can always message Sir Hans in LinkedIn and Autodesk Community Philippines in meetup.com. Okay, thank you, Sir Hans. Have a great evening.
Okay, thank you sa inyo lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you everyone for joining. To claim your certificate of event participation, message us in meetup.com/Autodesk Community Philippines. Bye everyone!